Developing online tutorials, practice example number 1. This will be split into 2 parts. This is just the first part. So the setup for what I'm going to be doing in this example. First, I'm going to be teaching the Pythagorean theorem in high school, so it's going to be basically a review. I'm going to use PowerPoint to create and record the video. I'm going to post the video on YouTube. And then I'm going to embed the video in Google Forms with some questions so you can see how that process is done as well. Step 1 is to plan out what you're going to do. Sometimes I don't do this if it's a small little project. Sometimes I won't do this if I can keep it all in my head. But sometimes it helps to have a little bit of a plan in advance. One way to have a plan is to draw out a storyboard. And so I have storyboarded my lesson. And I'm going to actually break this up. So I've got my intro slide right here. Then I'm going to have a slide where I'm going to talk about the reminders, the terms. I did have to change this. I was going to go ABC, but I was afraid that would confuse them, so I went QRS. And this is where I'm going to give the terms and what everything means. I'm then going to have different slides. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down. I'm going to stop right here, have a little bit of a question, and then I'm going to do these next 2 videos, and then these are going to be separate as well. So one of my presentations is just going to be these 2 slides. Then I'm going to have this question, and I may stick this question onto here, may combine these together and just have the question. I'm not for sure. I'll figure this all out as I get to it. That's kind of the idea. When I get to this will be one video here, so this will be a new presentation. And then I've got these 2. Okay. So next thing I got to do is I kind of got to gather myself together. Really, I put gather. It's about gathering your materials, but I kind of need to gather myself together. And so when I gather myself together, I think about all the things I'm going to need to have. I'll need to have 6 right triangles. I'm going to do this in PowerPoint. I'm not going to, because right triangles are pretty easy to create in PowerPoint. If it was a more complex shape or something more complex besides that, you can always copy and paste things from other programs or off of the internet into PowerPoint and use those directly. I'm just going to use PowerPoint to make my triangles. I know I'm going to need 6 of them because of my storyboarding. I'm going to need to get PowerPoint going, open it up, get it started, create a new slideshow. Also going to need something to write with because I'm going to have to do some writing to explain how to find missing sides in the Pythagorean theorem. And I'm going to be using this device today. I mentioned this earlier. I'm just going to be using my pen on this tablet, and that's the route I'm going to take today. Alright, so I'm recording here. I know that my first slide is my title slide, so let's put my title in. And I'm teaching them the Pythagorean theorem. And you could number it if you needed to, so if you had several videos on the same topic, you could do that. I need a new slide. My next slide is going to have, and I'm just going to leave it blank because it's going to have a right triangle. And we have, because right triangles are easy, instead of scanning it or copying the picture from another program or anything like that, which there's a lot of options for that, you can just draw, I'm sorry, here we go, insert shapes. There's a nice right triangle shape in here somewhere, I believe. There we go. So we're just going to do a right triangle. And just to stick with my theme here, I'm going to go a nice light green, if I can find a good light green here. There we go. Kind of a transparent green. And the outline, let's go outline black. All right. So there's my first one with the right triangle. Now I know that the next, let's see here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The next few slides all need triangles. So let's go ahead and do those. Actually, I just need, for the first video, I just need this one. Then I have a question, and then I have 2 examples. So I only need 4 triangles. So you can duplicate a slide. You can do Control D combo, or you can just right click and duplicate. I'm just going to do Control D. And in my little storyboard, my next triangle was facing this way, and I had it right there. Make a little bit different shape, make it a little bit longer. In the next one, I had an upside down one here, so let's duplicate this slide. So I don't have to keep remaking the triangle. This one, let's put it this way. Had that one there, and then I had one more. Let's make this one a little bit different too. It was a little bit, there we go. And then we'll do one more here. And this one, I think can I rotate my picture, flip it? Shape effects, no, align. I thought there was a way to flip my picture here. That's okay. I'll tell you what, I'm just gonna get rid of it. Insert a new one because I want it to go the other direction. Is that the only right triangle I have? I think it is. That's not gonna let me do it. Let's see here. Let me get back to the style I wanted. Outline is dark, and there's got to be a flip the picture option. Oh, here we go. Rotate. Flip. There we go. That's what I was looking for. This one's a little bit closer in size here. All right, so there's my 4 triangles. So I have the basic setup of what I'm going to record down here. So I get these ready. I could add all the letters in here. I could do all those things, but since I'm going to be using a tablet to write with, I normally just write those on the board when I'm doing them anyway. It doesn't take that long to write them. So sometimes I leave those elements. You could go ahead and add those in beforehand, but I'm just going to leave it like this. So hopefully this helps with this part. So this next step is just getting my slides ready. Now I need to record my video in PowerPoint. To do this, you're going to start by going to the File option in the top left corner of PowerPoint. When you click that, it shows up like this, and you're going to go down to where it says Export. That's what you're going to look for next. When you click Export, it changes the way it looks, and you get this option here. When you get to this point, you're going to want to click Create a Video. When you click Create a Video, it gives you this even further options off to the right-hand side. And notice where it says Don't use recorded timings and narrations. That's where you're going to look at. The HD 720p, that's where you change the resolution of the video. Smaller resolution, quicker upload. Do not click Create Video yet. You're just going to click where it says Don't use recorded timings and narrations. When you do, it looks like this, and you're going to go down to that next to last option, Record Timings and Narrations, and you're going to click that next. Now for this particular slide, I decided to go back and rehash my storyboard. I definitely am going to stop right here. I do these 3 slides, I stop. This is a question. I'm going to break that up. Later I'm going to record these, but the one you're going to get to see right now is me recording, just so you can see an example of recording. That's what we're going to record next. All right, so let's talk about trying to actually record this video. So I've got everything ready to go. I'm going to go to my first slide here. I click File, I click Export, I click Create a Video. I want to keep it at 720. You could go a higher definition. I'm going to keep it at 720. I am I need to record my timings and narrations. I apologize. Record timings and narrations takes me to this screen. Okay, when I do that, I need to move this little thing out of the way a little bit. All right, so if you remember my storyboard on the very first slide was an intro slide. So I'm going to record my intro slide where I'm just going to say my name and what we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to hit this record button right here. Oh, there we go. Countdown. Hey guys, this is Mr. Harmless, and we're going to be reviewing the Pythagorean theorem. And I say reviewing because you should have learned this quite a while ago, but I know that it's easy to forget those things. As you guys always say, I've slept since then. So I know that you've probably forgotten this, and so I just want to review it with you. and make sure that you know what we're doing, because you absolutely need to know how to do this for the next section. I hit pause, and then I can hit stop. I can hit replay to listen to what I did to see if I liked it. Over here where it says clear, I can clear the recording on that slide. If I need to redo that one, I didn't like that, I can clear that recording, or I can clear the recordings on all slides. I thought I did fine, so let's go to the next slide. Okay. On this one, this is where I'm going to give my definitions, okay? And I'm going to be doing some writing, so I'm going to use this pen here in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and click record. So in our first example here, I've got my right triangle, and I want to call this triangle, let's go with this color here. This is triangle QRS. And you would know it's a right triangle because I'm going to put this box in the corner. When you see that box, that means this is a right triangle, because that means that is a right angle. It's perpendicular, so that means it's a right angle, a 90-degree angle. And so one of the things you guys need to know, just to make sure you know the words I'm talking about, is that the side that is opposite the right angle, so this right angle over here, the side that is opposite to this is called the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the side that is opposite the right angle in a right triangle. These other two legs, or these other two sides, I just said it, are called legs. Okay, so here we have the hypotenuse and we have the two legs. Now the theorem itself, and let's go with red. Theorem itself looks like this: a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now the a, the b, and the c are the three sides. Triangle, three sides, three variables, right? The c will always be the hypotenuse. The a and the b will always be the two legs. So here we have the two legs, we've got the hypotenuse, okay? So let's actually put these here. I'm going to call this A, call this one B, and call this one C. So if we have numbers, that's exactly how we would set this up. If I give you some numbers, and this particular triangle, I'm going to use green. This particular triangle, this side just so happens to be 3 inches. Don't measure it because it's not really 5 inches. And just to show you that this works with this Pythagorean theorem, let's plug these numbers in there, right? So of these three sides, we know this is the hypotenuse. And so I know the 5 squared, that's going to go there where the C is at. The legs, A and B, 4 squared and 3 squared, it doesn't matter which order you put these in, doesn't matter which leg is which, but I'm going to go 4 squared plus 3 squared. Now let's see if this actually works here. 4 squared is what? You guys know? Oh, somebody said it's 16. 3 squared is 9. 5 squared, 5 times 5, 25, right? 16 plus 9 is 25. Does 25 equal 25? Yeah. So with this right triangle, these sides show that this works in this right triangle. So you're going to be able to use this to find missing sides. Sometimes in geometry, we'll use this to see if it is a right triangle. We'll get to that later. But right now, I just want you to remember how to find a missing side and how to identify which sides are which, and specifically which side is the hypotenuse. Okay, so we paused it, stopped it. Now this particular one, I've got one more here, and remember this one is just going to be a question, and I'm going to put a question underneath of it. So this particular one, I'm going to, I've got my pen ready, go back to this, and let's go ahead and hit record. Now before we go on, I just want to check and make sure that you know what you're doing. So this particular triangle, let's call this triangle WXY. Okay, of these three sides, and here's my right angle. Of these three sides, which side is the hypotenuse? Is it A, side WY? Is it B, side WX? Or is it C, side XY? Which one is it? Answer in the answer right below this, and I'll let you know if you got it right. If you get it right, you get to move on. If you don't, you got to stay here. All right, so now I have recorded my slides, and the next thing that I'm going to do, I can go ahead and click to end the show. It takes me back to this one. Once I have this, now all the recordings are done. It says use recordings, recorded timings and narrations. That's just what we created. I can now click record video. When I click this, now I know that you can't see it. It did pop up a dialog box. What do we want to call this? I'm going to call it Pythagorean Theorem 1. Because I'm making more than one video. I'm going to click save. And notice down here at the bottom it says creating Pythagorean Theorem video 1. And so once that's done creating, then we can upload it and post it, and I'll show you how to do the rest of that in just a minute. Okay, so I'm now going to upload my videos. Let's assume I've made all of them, and I've uploaded. I'm going to upload now all of them. So I'm going to hit right here, create from YouTube or even studio.youtube.com. Upload videos, select files, and here's my Pythagorean Theorem 1 video. Now I would have had a bunch of other ones created as well. I can call it whatever I want, Pythagorean Theorem 1. If I need to put a description here, I can put a description. First video in and I misspelled Pythagorean again up here. First video in Pythagorean Theorem review. If I wanted to, you can do the thumbnail so that it looks better. Lots of things you can do here. You can do yes, it's made for kids, since it is literally made for kids. I usually don't, just because it restricts some other things. I click next. This stuff you can do later. I click next. Any unlisted means anyone can see the video, but it doesn't just show up randomly. Okay, anybody can see it, so you'll still be able to embed it wherever you need to embed it, but it doesn't necessarily just show up for people to find it randomly. And so you can do unlisted. I usually just do public anyway, because it doesn't matter to me if anybody wants to watch it, but you can do unlisted, and then you click publish. A lot of those settings I went through quickly. You can always change those later. Now it's going to take a little while to upload. Once it's done uploading, then it has to process. If I click close, when you're in studio.youtube.com, this looks like this. Here's my videos, and there's all these. In fact, the one that you're watching is going to be in this list. The ones that you've already watched are right there. So Pythagorean Theorem number 1, I can click on this right here to see it once it's done. Right now it's processing, so it's not going to work. But this is where that video will show up, and then you can edit any of those settings that you did earlier. Okay, so let's leave it at that. Once it's done uploading, I'll show you how to embed it into a Google form. Well, hopefully that wasn't too overwhelming, or you don't feel too overloaded by that. Feel free to rewatch elements of this. If you know me personally, I can easily set up a time where I can show you these things a little bit more individually. If there's parts of this that did not make sense, please jot those down. And like I said, at the end of this tutorial, you will have the option of asking questions, as many as you need, and I can create follow-up videos for those things. Let's go on to the next portion, which is going to be creating the Google form and putting all that stuff we just made into that Google form.